Makes sense. What else?
Another common mistake is underestimating the potential costs.
Right, we talked about that earlier.
Legal fees, expert witness fees, property valuations, it all adds up, and it's important to be prepared for that financial burden.
So don't go into this thinking it's going to be cheap.
Definitely not. And perhaps most importantly, they emphasize the importance of not going it alone.
Don't try to be your own lawyer.
Exactly. These cases are complex, and the law can be tricky. Having an experienced attorney on your side can make all the difference.
It's like having a guide in a foreign country you wouldn't want to wander around aimlessly.
Exactly. You need someone who knows the lay of the land and can help you navigate the complexities.
Okay, so we've got the steps involved, the pitfalls to avoid, but what about the money? Let's talk about the costs associated with partition actions.
Right, let's break it down.
First up, we've got legal fees. That's a given, right?
Yeah. Those are unavoidable, but they can vary depending on the complexity of the case and the attorney's experience.
So you get what you pay for.
Pretty much. And legal fees can be billed hourly or as a contingency fee.
What's a contingency fee?
It means the attorney only gets paid if you win the case. And they typically take a percentage of the settlement or award.
Okay, so it's a risk-reward situation for the attorney.
Exactly. They're taking on the risk of not getting paid if you lose, but they get a bigger reward if you win.
Makes sense. What other costs should people be aware of?
Well, besides attorney fees, there are court costs, filing fees, service of process fees, all those administrative expenses.
So those are just the costs of doing business with the court?
Yeah, pretty much. And then there are expert witness fees.
Expert witness fees.
Yep. This is where things can get pricey, especially for property appraisals.
Right, because you need someone to determine the fair market value of the property.
Exactly. And if there are any other specialized issues that require expert testimony, those fees can add up quickly.
So it's not just about the lawyer, it's about the whole team of experts you might need to bring in.
Exactly. And all of those costs need to be factored in when you're deciding whether or not to pursue a partition action.
Okay, so for someone facing a partition action, how can they keep those expenses under control? Any tips from the experts?
The Martinez Law Center recommends exploring early settlement attempts.
So try to resolve things before it goes to court.
Exactly. Resolving things early can save a lot of money in legal fees and other expenses.
And it can also save a lot of stress and heartache.
Absolutely. And another tip is to keep the lines of communication open with your attorney.
So don't be afraid to ask questions or voice your concerns.
Definitely keeping your attorney in the loop can prevent unnecessary work and expenses.
Makes sense. What else?
In some cases, co-owners can agree to split costs fairly through cost-sharing agreements.
So everyone chips in.
Exactly. It's all about collaboration and being proactive.
It makes sense to try to work together to minimize the financial burden.
Absolutely. And it can also help preserve relationships, which is always a good thing.
Now let's talk about a type of partition action that often carries a lot of emotional weight, those involving inherited property.
Oh, yeah. Those can be tough.
It seems like those would be particularly challenging to navigate, given the family dynamics and the sentimental value often attached to inherited properties.
You're absolutely right. These cases can be very emotionally charged.
And the Martinez Law Center has a lot of experience handling these sensitive cases, right?
They do, and they emphasize the importance of acknowledging those emotional ties to the property.
So you're saying don't just treat it like a business transaction.
Exactly. These properties often hold sentimental value for the families involved, and it's important to be sensitive to that.
Makes sense, but at the same time, you also need to be realistic about the financial considerations, right?
Absolutely. You can't let emotions cloud your judgment when it comes to making important financial decisions.
This is the delicate balance.
It is, and that's where having an experienced attorney can be invaluable. They can help you navigate those emotional complexities and make sure you're making decisions that are in your best interests, both financially and emotionally.
Okay, so for someone facing a partition action involving inherited property, how can they handle those tricky family dynamics? Any advice from the experts?
The Martinez Law Center encourages open and honest communication with family members.
So talk it out.
Exactly. Try to understand everyone's goals and concerns and see if you can find some common ground.
And if communication breaks down or things get too heated?
They recommend exploring mediation.
Bringing in a neutral third party to help facilitate those conversations.
Right. Mediation can be a great way to de-escalate the situation and find a solution that works for everyone.
It's worth considering for sure, especially when family relationships are at stake.
Absolutely. And if a buyout is a possibility, they can help negotiate a fair and agreeable arrangement.
So one family member could buy out the others and keep the property.
Exactly. It's all about finding a solution that works for everyone, both legally and emotionally.
It's fascinating how the law has to grapple with those intangible, emotional aspects of property ownership.
It does, and it makes these cases much more complex than just simple financial transactions.
It's about people's lives, their histories, their memories, all tied up in these legal battles.
Exactly, and that's why having compassionate and understanding legal representation is so important.
Speaking of numbers, let's talk about real estate appraisals.
The backbone of many partition actions,
Right. They're crucial for determining the fair market value of the property.
which is essential for an equitable division or sale.
So how do these appraisals work in the real world? What factors do appraisers consider when determining a property's value?
Appraisers take a comprehensive approach. They look at everything.
Like what?
Well, they consider the property's location, of course, condition, size, age, any recent renovations or upgrades.
Okay, so the physical characteristics of the property.
Right. And they also look at current market trends, recent comparable sales in the area, all those factors that influence what buyers are willing to pay.
So it's a pretty involved process.
It is. Appraisers are essentially real estate detectives gathering all the evidence to determine a property's true worth.
And that valuation plays a key role in partition actions, right?
Absolutely. It sets the stage for buyouts, sales divisions. It's the foundation for ensuring everyone gets their fair share.
Let's focus on partition by sale for a moment. How do appraisals fit into this specific type of partition action?
Well, in cases where physically dividing the property just isn't feasible, like with a single-family home or a commercial building, a partition by sale becomes the go-to option.
So you sell the property and divide the proceeds.
Exactly, and the appraisal is crucial for determining the listing price and ensuring a fair distribution of the proceeds.
Okay, so it sets the bar for the entire sale process.
Pretty much, yeah. It's the benchmark against which all offers are measured.
Makes sense. And it also protects the co-owners from getting lowballed, right?
Absolutely. Having that independent appraisal helps ensure that everyone receives a fair price for their share of the property.
It sounds like appraisals act as a crucial safeguard throughout the entire process.
They do, and they become even more important when dealing with inherited property, where those emotional attachments can sometimes cloud judgments about a property's true value.
Right, because sentimentality can inflate the perceived value in someone's mind.
Exactly. Having that objective appraisal helps bring everyone back down to earth and ensures a fair outcome based on market realities.
Now let's turn our attention to a specific group of individuals who often face unique challenges in partition actions. California business owners. How do partition actions play out when business partnerships go sour or business real estate is jointly owned? It seems like there would be a lot of extra layers to consider.
You're right. Business-related partition actions can be particularly complex. They often involve higher stakes, more intricate financial arrangements, and the potential for significant disruption to business operations.
Call now 714-442-9741. Thank you.